Recording in progress. Okay. Hi, my name is Jaime, and I'm from English 2, Group 15, and today I'll be your interviewer. This interview is part of my project for Professor Granfield. The purpose is to learn how third semester students relate to three languages they are studying, English, French, and German. The interview will be divided into parts. First, I'm going to ask you some identification questions about who you are, and then the questions about the topic. Thank you for your time and for being part of this project. For the first question is, what is your full name?
Okay. Hi, Jaime. My full name is Maria Camila Martinez Mayorga.
Okay, thank you. How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Barranquilla, but I lived a lot of years in Bucaramanga, so people think that I'm Cachaca.
Okay, that's interesting. What university do you study at?
I'm studying at Universidad del Atlántico.
Okay. What academic program are you studying?
I'm studying degree in foreign languages.
Okay. What semester are you currently in?
I'm currently in third semester.
Okay. How long have you been studying in this program?
In this program,
Mhm.
yes, okay. I've been studying like for a year, 1 year and like 2 months. Yes.
Okay, 1 year and 2 months. Who is your current English teacher?
And I don't know his full name. I just know that his name is Ivan. I don't know
Okay,
his last name.
Mr. Ivan. What subjects are you taking this semesters?
Okay, I'm taking French, German, English, and no, three pedagogic subjects. But I don't remember the names.
Okay. What skills do you think are you strongest as a language student?
Okay, I think that for me is the speaking because I'm a person who always speak a lot. So for me it's easy to speak more than to listen and more than to read and write.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, now I'm going to enter to the topic questions. Is about how do students relate the three languages they are learning? In this case, English, French, and German. So for the first question, what words or expressions do you remember that sound similar in the three languages?
Okay, I don't remember like a word that I remember similar in the three languages, but I remember one of that is both that is English and German, that is house. Because in English is house and in German is like houses, something like that. And maybe in French, there is a lot of words in French that are similar. But right now, I don't remember like a specific word or expression. So,
Okay, just house.
yes.
Well, the
I
second
think.
question will be, when did you first notice that some of the three languages are related?
Okay, that's a good question. Mm, maybe the vocabulary is something that maybe for if you are studying the three languages, it may be some confused, but also you realize that you have a lot of words similar. As I say, I don't remember now a lot of examples, but always they have like a similar base. Yes, like maybe the Latin or something like that. So the vocabulary sometimes is similar.
But you don't remember like any specific time, like in first semester or something like that?
I think that a lot of time before, like when I was like 15, because I was studying English and I always have been interested about French. And I realized that I don't speak French, but I was studying by myself. So I realized that there is a lot of expressions and words that are similar, but it was a lot of time ago, like a 15.
Okay, that's good. Well, for the third question, how do you understand the connection between English, French, and German?
How I understand the connection in the three languages. Mm, I don't know how to respond that question. Well, maybe as I say, uh, for learning a language, you need to focus on some specific topics like the grammar, the vocabulary, or things like that. So I think that if you're learning the three languages like we do in this career, you need to relate. So maybe it's not like a strong connection, but you need to focus in every language and try not to get confused because it's some vocabulary, things like that are like similar.
Okay, well, why do you think some parts of the language look alike?
Well, maybe as I say, like in the second question,
Yes,
it's because there is a vast, like a big language for saying something like that, that is the essential for the other languages, right? Like in this case, I think that is the Latin, because English, French, and German have like at least a little bit of that language, of the Latin. So I
the
think that
Latin
is
history.
like the reason why.
Yes, that's a good answer. Wow. What examples can you give of things that are similar between them?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What examples can you give of things that are similar between them?
Okay. I think that I'm going to talk about the grammar again because, for example, we're not talking about Spanish, but in Spanish, like the structures are so linear, like very the same. But in German, French, and English, you need to change the order of the words in many cases. Like if you are going to ask something, you need to change the word, the complement, something like that. So I think that in that part, like the change that you change the words, and yes, that
Okay,
is that.
thank you. How do you use one language to help you understand another?
Maybe in this career that is something important because if you have clear one of those languages that I really scare about people who doesn't understand a lot of English because it's like you're in zero. But if you understand English, you maybe can um, like mix those languages and you can relate. Like if you don't remember a word in, I don't know, in French, you can try to remember in another languages, and maybe in some cases are something similar, so you connect, you connect.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Well, what do you usually do when you get confused between the three languages?
That is something that happens a lot to me, especially in German because I don't like German, and I try to clarify, like my mind, like try to to do everything again, like no, I'm in German, or I'm in French, because sometimes I'm speaking actually Something happened to me in first semester that I was speaking in French, and then I started speaking in English, and it was weird. But I tried to clarify and like start again, like begin again, like, because it's normal that if you're studying three languages, you get very confused sometimes.
So you try to clarify your mind and
Yes,
relax.
like my mind,
Okay.
relax, and focus about the language that I'm speaking to.
Okay. How do you use what you know from English when learning French or German?
Relating, like, yes, mixing, comparisons, things like that. Like, sometimes I have the knowledge for think in English, so I try to do the same, but with German and French. But it's more difficult because I don't speak those languages, but I try to start that process of thinking in those languages and relate. That's the most important to me.
Okay. Well, what difference do you see between the three languages?
Difference? Mm, I'm thinking. Wait. Um. Well, maybe I see something, but it's not. It's not about the three languages. Specifically about German, and is that maybe sometimes we get confused about the pronunciation because in French and in English the pronunciation is not always like the same, but in German there are a lot of words that have the same pronunciation as you read, something that you don't have in English and in French. And I think that is something weird because I think that German is the most difficult, but it's the text that you can read. uh, how you read is how it's spelled or like it's pronounced. And I think that is the most difference that I see. And also the the not like the tone of voice, but the kind of, yes, like the tone that we use for speaking those languages. Because for example, in English you speak normal like in Spanish, but in French you need to speak like with a potato in the mouth or, or something
Yeah.
like that with a cold. And in German you speak like as like that, like hitting something with your words.
Okay. Also to add to you, I will say that the genre of the nouns of the words for saying like that, because in French and German you have a genre for every word, and your answer is something like about the pronunciation, and that's is related to the next question. How do you compare the pronunciation of English, French, and German?
Okay. I respond another question. Well, as I say,
Yes.
maybe because in German it's like too literally, like to, if you read a word, that's how you pronunciate. In French, depends. Depends if you have one e or two e's or a, I don't know how to say that in English, like a tilde. And in English, I think that is the most difficult because almost all the letters, the vowels, change the pronunciation. Like, you know the vowels like A, E, I, O, and U. But if you read a word, if you read for him, for example, car is not care, is car, just car. But in another cases, it changed. So, that.
Okay, thank you. Which of the three languages helps you the most to learn the others?
English, because yes, I had an immersion in English since I was a kid because my father is bilingual. So I spoke English since like 16. So it's like I have that. Uh, I I can study better with English and then yes, French and German.
Okay. Um, which language do you think it's easier for you and why?
If we talk, well, I'm going to say that French because even if even if I talk English, I speak English. French for me is easier because we have a base that is the Spanish. Like we don't speak Latin, but it's a Romance language. So we have that base that is the Spanish. And sometimes the pronunciation with like the thing with the throat and things like that is difficult. But the words, the grammar, the vocabulary, things like that are easier for me. It's like very similar to the Spanish. So
Okay. How do you feel when you have to study all the three languages at the same time?
I feel very stressed and very, very confused. It's an horrible experience. Maybe when I have a test to the next day of the three languages, very, very stressful. Yes.
Okay. What do you think helps you more? Learning one by one or all the three together?
Learning by one by one. I think that is easier because you focus on that and you have more information and you don't get confused. And that is so important.
Okay. How could you study the three languages in a way that connects them better?
Um, Maybe for me, that is something that I applied in the past with the English and by the music or by the series or something like that. For example, right now I try to watch series in French, but with the subtitles in English. That is the language that I understand the most. And the same with the music. I try to translate or things like that. And yes, that
Okay. You. What study method would you like to try to improve all the three languages?
we the reading and the
Reading.
writing. I would like to try to do those things because yet also because that is one of the things that I I'm worst like with writing in English, and I would like to try that. Like, and also that another person give me words and I try to write those words. Maybe.
Write down
Yes.
those words. Okay. Well, how could teachers helps you connect the three languages more easily?
Making comparisons and looking for the meaning, but in, for example, the teachers give you a vocabulary all the semester on or something like that, and giving you the meaning, but in another language, not in Spanish, no, like in English, or maybe if it's French in German, or it's German in French, or something like that.
Uh, what advice would you give to students who start studying these three languages
The three languages at the same time, or one by one?
at the same time?
Okay. Um, I will say that try to have a notebook and spaces, time for every languages, for study by yourself, not just the thing that you learn in an academy or maybe at a university. No, have yourself, have time by study for studying by yourself. That is so important, and most if you are studying the three languages at the same time.
Okay. How do you imagine your progress if you keep studying the three languages together?
Um, I think that it will be difficult because it's being difficult actually. But if you have some a good relation with one of those languages, is easier. So I hope and I wish that in the future I will speak the three languages, or at least both of them, that is French and and English.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, what benefits do you think you get from learning three languages at the same time?
I think that you get like an ability, because if you don't get confused like by the years learning those languages, because uh, you don't learn a language in 1 year or in a week. No, you learn by years, and three languages is more difficult, so it's more time. But I think that maybe it will be easier in the future learning another languages and don't getting confused like now, because we're in an adaptation process. So I think that it will be easier in the future. So I'm going to take that with some like something good now for the future.
And also the neuroplasticity, no? Because that helps you to don't forget in the future or don't have dementia. That prevents you from that illness in the future if you keep learning languages like you're doing currently.
Yeah, like
Well,
you have your three languages at the same time, and you're going to keep them.
okay. Thank you very much for your answers and for taking the time to participate in this interview. Your responses will be very helpful for my project about how students relate the two languages they are learning. Thank you so much for your
Okay, thank
time.
you.
Take care. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.